Today I have as my guest someone who will fix your sales problem. Now, listen, if you don't have a sales problem, revenue's great, profits through the roof, growing year over year, above and beyond inflation, by the way, then you don't need to listen to this. You don't need to waste your time here. But if you are looking for an area to fix, solve, grow, and or expand with a proven process that is not only transferable but repeatable to help you scale, potentially double digit, even over the course of the future, double and triple scaling your company, I want to introduce you to John Noonan from Growth Plan Partners. John, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do?
All right. Well, thank you. I'm John Noonan. And again, I'm the president of Growth Plan Partners. And what that is a consulting advisory that I started just about 3 years ago after spending 35 years in corporate America. And what I do today is I help small and mid-sized businesses, let's say $5 million to $50 million, kind of a super sweet spot, that are struggling to get to the next level in sales. They're looking to build a path to more sales, and they just can't figure out how to get there. So usually I'm referred in by somebody and they say, it's worth having a chat with John. And we kind of show them the way for the process and people and all the good things that we can bring to the table for them.
Well, and John, there doesn't seem to be a perfect balance point for most companies that size. It's either like sales needs a lot of help or we have too many sales to implement, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, well, it's so funny because, I heard a good line the other day that I've been using that I like. And somebody said, nobody goes into business because they're good at business, right? They're good at something. They have a great product, a great service, something like that. And then they start to build upon it. And the business owner has to learn all the elements of business, from human resources to finance to operations to sales, right? And but they can get themselves to a point that way, and then they realize to really get to the next level, they've got to bring in some help, right? You can't be really good at everything. You're good at one or two things, and then you're going to go to the outside. Now, you can hire somebody full time if you feel that that's appropriate, and you absolutely have them. But when you're struggling in an area, sometimes it's a lot more comforting to bring somebody in on a fractional basis, right? Somebody who's done it for many, many years, that understands it, to make sure it's right for you. It's kind of an easy way to try to buy, so to speak. And if the person is good, they can help you all the way through the process and then help you find that right person that you can bring on full time to really, help you catapult sales to the next level.
So it sounds like a perfect bridge because a
Hmm.
lot of times I see owners or founders at that level, they realize that they can't be the number one salesperson anymore, the number one revenue generating person, or they never have been, and that's like the one thing they want to stay away from at all costs. So it sounds like a way to kind of get used to or get set up for a long term solution without wasting the time and effort or kicking the can down the road.
Right, right. It's funny because, generally the owner is the top salesperson at the beginning, right? It's their concept, it's their idea. They're out there selling it. They're just their sheer excitement about it and their passion for it helps sell it, right? Now they get to a point where they're out there, doing that on a full-time basis. And how much time do they have in a day? They can't do it all by themselves. All right. So, part of my job is getting them to understand that you actually can take a day off. Other people can learn this process, can go represent your companies. Now, you're always going to be the face of the company. It's one of the discussions I have to have with business owners. You're always going to be that person, and you can go on every sales call you want, but you shouldn't have your own book of business, and you shouldn't be on the phone making appointments for yourself. There are other qualified people in business development and sales that can do that for you. Okay. And then again, once they learn the presentation skills from you and understand the product well enough, they can take it to the next level and you can actually go do other things, run your company, but more importantly, take a day off or two and go see the family.
So, John, what are some things you're seeing in sales teams now that are causing some challenges, whether it's external or internal?
Yeah, so a couple of things that we hear and I ask, referral partners to listen for to possibly refer me are, my sales have been at the same level for the last few years. I just don't understand it. My competition is growing and I just got stuck. I don't know what's going on. Even worse, my sales have been declining. Why is that happening? Where are the issues that I need to address? Too much of my revenue comes from too few clients. That gets very scary. Someone starts a business, they have a great client, they put a lot of emphasis on them and effort into them, and that's great, and they start to grow. The old rule of thumb is any client more than 20% of your revenue is a very scary place to be. I mean, you lose that client, and that is a lot to make up. We would much prefer to see that business, spread out over multiple customers so that any impact of one customer can't really affect your overall growth. Another one is I can't predict my sales. Again, someone that's, not experienced in sales process and setting up sales forecasting, in working with a good CRM system, they're guessing. And of course, that makes it difficult on the entire organization. I mean, the finance people don't know how to budget because they don't know what sales are coming over the bow. Operations doesn't know what to produce because they don't know what's coming. Getting a predictable sales forecasting model is absolutely critical type of thing. And then, the one I said before is too much of our sales success just depends on me. And when I hear that one, it's kind of like, well, then, we need to look into a better process and better system for you.
Now, and John, what are some key metrics that you're maybe early on looking to either find and understand or establish to know whether you're going to be able to have an impact?
Yeah. Well, most people obviously record their sales. They usually have that number, right? And just prior to sales is usually proposals or quotations, okay? And they usually have that. So they start to, the first thing we'll look at is, what are your overall sales and how many proposals did you have to create and what value of those proposals did you have to create to earn those sales, okay? Most people have somewhat of a handle on that, but they don't track the upfront activity levels that lead to that. Because to get to those proposals, you had to have meetings, right? So, how many meetings did it take? How many people did you have to actually sit down with, have an intelligent conversation, get them interested to the point where they said, "Give me a number"? And to get those meetings, how many people did you have to connect with, have conversations with, attempt to influence and show the benefits that your companies can offer? So, it's a bit of a math formula, and we'll work it backwards. Obviously, we're going to start with your sales, we're going to start with your proposals, and then we're going to work backwards to the activity levels that are necessary to get to those numbers, but more importantly, better improved numbers. Because we if we see that you're only landing 10% of your proposals, well, then there's another issue there that we have to work on. A good company should be selling at least 50% of what they propose to clients. If they're doing it well, if they're targeting the right client, if they're hitting them in the right place.
And all that comes down to what you said, being able to predict the sales. I mean, you can
Yep.
almost see, regardless of how long your sales cycle is, the right activities, the dollars in the sales are a result. And so if you can
Hmm.
plan and predict those activities that happen in the lead generation and the discovery and the pinpointing the pain, all those things the better you get at tracking that, even maybe you can speak to even training to that so
Hmm.
that you can have, when the quarter's over, the year's over, whatever it is, you kind of know, oh, look, we can actually budget this stuff now.
Right. And well, let me start this way. That's where a good CRM comes in. And it still amazes me that, I do a lot of work with companies in that $5 million to $50 million range. And the research tells us that at least half of them don't have a CRM system or don't use one.
Bingo.
I've met a lot that have bought them and they're collecting dust. But you need a good CRM system to track all of this information for you. There's no question about it. And that's where you can really get your hands around the data and use the data to your benefit. So,
Now, tell me a little bit about what you're seeing in terms of salespeople themselves. I mean, I'm personally seeing right now a lot of either heavy veteran laden sales forces or everybody's brand new. There doesn't seem to be much of a mix right now, and I don't know whether that was the result of being a few years out of COVID or what. But talk a little bit about the makeup and maybe the chemistry of a productive sales team.
sure, sure. Well, a productive sales team needs to be balanced first and foremost, okay? And there's a couple of different areas. It really depends on what you produce and your business. But in general, there's three or four levels. The very first level is what we'll call customer service, account management, okay? And then from there, we'll go into a business development rep. Okay, that's probably somebody that's inside, that's making phone calls to make appointments, and then a full salesperson goes in and actually takes that call and makes that appointment. Okay, then we get into the senior salespeople. Okay, whether they are, internal and can work from an office, or they actually have to travel and get out there and work with the client. So then you have, a sales lead, a salesperson, and then maybe a senior salesperson, whether they're called vice presidents or business development. Again, those titles vary depending on the industry that you're in. So there's several levels, obviously, and then there should be a sales leader, right? There should be someone leading the pack. And it is my philosophy, that they should not be selling. They should not have their own book of business. I think, a common mistake that gets made out there today is, a salesperson comes on board, an owner wants to give them more responsibility, they're doing a great job, and they make them a sales manager. And and it rarely works out. It really does, because generally a person that's an individual contributor generally doesn't make a great sales manager. And then within salespeople, we kind of see two basic roles. We see the hunter and the farmer. It's the old terms that are used in sales, right? Are you hunting or farming? And again, you need to find yourself good hunters that can go out there and bring home the opportunities. And then once they are landed, and maybe their ongoing business that requires, more day-to-day servicing, or working with them on the day-to-day order cycles, then that would be more of a farmer. Again, that customer service, account management, program management. There's a couple of different terms that are used, again, depending on the industry. But having a good blend of all of those. And the trick is, keep your hunters out there hunting. As soon as the business comes forward, get it in the hands of a good account manager that can work with that client, earn their respect, and help them day to day. And make sure you have enough support people, to take care of all the requirements of the client. And then finally, have a good sales manager or a VP of sales that's monitoring this whole process. And that's their main intent, to make sure everybody's getting their job done, the clients are happy, and sales are growing.
Well, and maybe you can share a little bit with us on how to hold those people accountable, whether it's the sales manager of the team, maybe it's commissions, incentives, culture. How do we get this stuff off the ground? How do we make sure we got the right people and that they're doing the right
Yeah.
things?
Well, the right people, to make sure you have the right people, and folks like, fractional folks like myself can help there too. Again, define the roles, understand what the requirements are. Again, hunter, farmer, service, sales manager, etc. Okay. And then hire for those skills. Okay. For those individual roles. And if you do that, and we can help there with assessment testing. I use several different assessment tests today. Even after doing this for 35 years, I think I've got a pretty good gut on people. But the old joke is, the best sale a salesperson will ever make is the one selling themselves for their job, right? And you got to make sure that you understand what their motivations are, what gets them up in the morning, and what's going to work to keep them motivated. And I think that was your first question, what do you have to do to keep them motivated? Yes, the hunters, definitively a good compensation plan that's going to keep them out there hunting for new business. And then you're going to want to also look at compensation plans internally that helps those internal account managers become part of the process, become part of the client servicing, and stay motivated there. But again, it starts with good job description and definition, hiring against those requirements, and then making sure you have the compensation and motivation opportunities for those people to grow with your organization.
Yeah, John, love that. And maybe you can speak a little bit too about, how that's part of the process of the ROI in you and your company is, I've always heard it said a great consultant works themselves out of a job. And especially
Right.
if you're looking to build and then put the right people in place for this. I mean, I know you use the word fractional VP of
Mhm.
sales or fractional, but this is really a bridge, isn't it?
It is. It is. I generally work with a client no more than 6 to 12 months. Usually it's that first 3 months of getting all the process and systems and operations in place, CRMs, etc. Then the second 3 months, working closely with the salespeople, making sure we have the right people in the right seats and everybody's targeted at the right accounts. And then it's in that month 6 that we start to see those sales start to increase rapidly. And it's during that period that we decide whether we're going to add more people. We need to make other modifications. And we start that recruiting process to find my replacement and get somebody in there full time. Because in general, I've got a pretty good track record. Most of my clients are up 20 to 35% in working with me for a year. So now you've got that revenue stream to go out and hire that full-time person to take it over and take it to the next level.
Yeah, John, it's incredible. That's what I was going to ask you. About how long is the average tenure there? And if you're looking 6 months to maybe then another 3 to start the process of wrapping up in about a year, that's an incredible return on investment. And one of the questions I bet they would have is are there different levels at which you can work with them? Is something where you're maybe there a few hours a week, a couple days a week? What can they expect, or what can they negotiate with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it to your point, it depends on their budget and the speed of, what we plan to do. Okay. Again, sometimes, some companies can't handle rapid growth. All right. They just don't. They don't have the capacity internally or the productions, levels to handle fast growth. So we have to, for one of the first things we'll do is we'll sit down, we'll look through their financing. I take a full assessment with them and we'll decide, at what rate of growth we would like to see this company go on. Okay. Once that's decided, that will help decide, how much time I will need to spend with them to do that. And some of that, to your point, is a half a day a week. It might be that simple. It might be 4 to 5 hours a week that we start. At other times, it may be a full day, maybe 10 hours spread over a couple of days for the meetings and the things that I'm doing. And if they do want that rapid growth, it may be a couple of days.
Yeah.
So I am flexible, and we will adjust that based on those issues with the client.
Now, Johnny, I got to ask you, what got you into sales?
Way back when, huh? What got me into sales? You know what? It was funny. I worked in a fast food restaurant as a kid almost. I was 14 years old, serving ice cream and hamburgers and things like that. And I had fun, interacting with the clients and customers and the fellow co-workers. And I truly, truly enjoyed that. And that just kind of transcended into my going to school and getting interested in marketing and sales, and then coming out and taking my first sales position. Um, the very first one was, I was still going to college. I sold office products. So literally pens and paper and office furniture and all that kind of stuff. But I got to meet a lot of different people. I got to go into a lot of different businesses. And then after I graduated and got my degree, I got a position with a company, a $2 billion company that gave me some great training and some great opportunity. And I got to, meet many, many different clients and go into many, many different manufacturing operations and things like that. And I always love the concept of, in essence, a good salesperson is a good problem solver, right? There's someone that can, ask good questions, ferret out the issues, bring to bear a good solution that's going to be a win-win for both parties, and then help implement it. And that's what I like to do. And I think I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah, that's incredible. What are some of the big changes that you've noticed over maybe the last several years, or maybe the last 10 years or so in sales? Is it tools? Is it people? Is it market? What's changed?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, tools for sure. I mean, it's everything is AI, right? I don't think most people even understand that term in and of itself. There are so many components to AI, but the different tools that are available to us out there. First off, we have to look at what tools the clients are using. Okay. We know for a fact that they're going to use ChatGPT and other, tools like that to do searches, right? Give me 5 companies that do the following things and tell me what I should be paying. So I think some buyers are going to be falsely convinced that they can just do a search, pick a couple of companies, and that's going to be their best deal. It may work in some instances, but I'm going to contend that it probably won't in most. But we have to understand that they're doing that. So we then have to use tools where we get to see what are they searching for, what are they looking for. I mean, there's many tools out there now today. One in particular, it's what they call an intent tool that actually helps us look at what people are searching on the internet so that we can see them searching for solutions that we have and try to get ourselves in front of them and get introduced to them and show them that we have solutions to these issues. So, definitively tools is a big one. Salespeople today need to be a lot more tech savvy. Okay. And they need to be able to use the other tools that are at hand, the CRM tools, the ability. I mean, it gives them the ability to do much more and actually earn much more if they learn how to use the tools properly. So yeah, the technical side would be the big thing. The fact that you're going to be coming into this sales cycle much later. I mean, before people would pick up the phone and entertain a salesman because they wanted to learn. They don't need us to come by to learn anymore. They're picking up most of the early information they need from the internet, from ChatGPT, et cetera. So you're going to have to be prepared with solutions when you finally get in front of a customer today. And that's, it makes the glad handing a little less important, and the ability to form good solutions, understand problems quickly, ask good questions, a lot more important in the sales process today.
Yeah, and John, what's something that hasn't changed? I mean, since the beginning of time in sales, what's something
Yeah.
that's remained a constant?
People buy from people they like in the end, and trust. Let me say that, not just like, but trust. There's the old adage out there: know, like, and trust, right? You get to know somebody, then hopefully you like them, and ultimately you trust them. People are still going to buy from people that they trust. I do it. I just I constantly question that as I make purchases, as I go online. Do I trust this? Do I believe in it? If I'm working with an individual person, are they telling me the truth, or am I just going to fluff them off and find somebody else? It's the same thing. You have to be sincere. You have to be good at what you do so that you can be trusted.
Love it. And now, changing gears a little bit, John, what's something either nobody or very few people know about you?
That my wife is Italian and I love Italian cooking, and we still keep up a lot of the Italian traditions in this house. We make our own tomato sauce every year with a bunch of cousins, and I actually hang sausage in the winter in my attic, dried sausage. So
Oh, that's awesome.
a good Italian meal and a good bottle of red wine, that's that's my favorite time to interact with friends and family.
Oh, that's perfect. So, John, if someone wants to reach out to you, they want to talk to you about fixing their revenue problem, their profit courage problem, their sales team in general, how would they go about doing that?
You can look me up on LinkedIn. Again, John Noonan. You should be able to find me at Growth Plan Partners, or my email is simply jnoonan@growthplanpartners.com. So J Noonan, Noonan at growthplanpartners.com. Those are the two best ways. And again, no obligation. I'm happy to offer you a free assessment that you will take, and we will sit down and discuss what we believe your issues are, and hopefully write a prescriptive process for you, and move you forward to the next level.
Awesome. Now, any final thoughts you want to leave the audience with now, John?
Um, just that again, people see me and my background. Oh, he must be expensive, and I don't know if I'm ready for this. A conversation doesn't cost anything. So just again, happy to chat, happy to give free advice if that's what I can offer you. I am here to give back. I had a great career in corporate America. Part of why I'm doing what I'm doing now is not only, to earn a little bit of an income here, but actually to give back and to work in my community. So happy to do so.
Yeah, love it, John. John, I'm going to talk to the audience just for 1 second here, because if right now you're looking for a solution to fix your sales, fix your leads, fix your profit courage, fix whatever is troubled in your revenue or in the bottom line, there's a lot of shiny objects out there. And like John, like you mentioned, there's a lot of AI. There's a lot of things that are half-baked. There's a lot of things that are theory and not exactly proven. However, there's also a lot of cheap, quick solutions, some of which are also free. So when John gives this assessment away for nothing, just know that there is a proven track record behind it. It's something he probably should be charging $4,000, $5,000, or $10,000 for, because that's the value you'll find once you've identified your issues. So many times when it comes to sales, in terms of a process of the people, we in the company are sometimes too close to the daily operations, too close to the daily activities. We can't quite see it. Hiring an expert will far and away be your best bet if this is truly something you want to permanently fix. John, pleasure to have you on. Would love to catch up in the future. I'm looking forward to seeing your success and how you're going to help them grow to their full potential. John, thank you.
Thank you, Don.